So I'm Stephen, and I'm one of the co-supervisors for this event. Okay, so this event. Okay, so your handout has some basic information that we'll be going through. So every year, the event has two topics that are constant. So that's the solar system, which is just general information about the planets and like the layout of the solar system, sort of, and then constellations, which is recognizing constellations and specific stars on a star chart. And then the third section rotates every year. So this year is a deep space focus, which is like galaxies and nebulae. And then the other topic, which is not going to be covered this year, is more in-depth information about the solar system. So things on that section would be like dwarf planets and moons and comets and asteroids, but we will not be asking questions about those this year. This is the rule sheet, and this has all of all the information that we're going to be covering on the test. And so part one is the basic solar system information, and this is like planetary mechanics or just basic information, which the list of what they need to know is on the rules. And also the rule sheet is available on the Macomb SO website on the Starry Starry page.
And that's that 33-page rule book that has only 2 pages that refer to our topic.
Right. And well, on our website, or
on our pages, they have a link specifically to this page of rules.
So,
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you can get these rules on the Starry Starry page. And then we do not ask for numbers on the solar system part or any part of the test. We do not need to know, like the students don't need to know how many moons Jupiter has or how far Mars is from the sun. You do need to know the order of the planets and like the generally like relationships between planets, and like this one has more moons than this one, but you don't need to know the exact number. So then part 2 is the constellations, and so constellations and stars. So we will be giving the students a star chart, which we have provided on the website, a list of a document with all the star charts that we could use on the test. So this actually has 3 different types on it. So it has the star charts with the lines and names of the constellations drawn in, and then it has star charts with just the lines drawn in, and then after that there are star charts with just the dots, no lines or names. And this is what the students will be seeing on the test. So there are the reference planets and the moon, where the moon is on that specific night, which those are labeled. I'm not sure if you can see it from where you are, but they're labeled on the star chart, even the blank ones. But this document does have the dates listed on the star charts, but we will not be putting the date on the test. So the students will have to be able to recognize the season that's in, so that they can orient themselves and find the constellations and stars. So we are not, however, we will not be asking what season it is in or what month it is in, but it will help the students to know that, so that they can find the specific constellations. Part 3, this is the rotating topic from this year's deep space. the first part is, or the first section of this is basic information about galaxies, and what are galaxies, and the different types of galaxies. So there's spiral, elliptical, and irregular. So the students will need to be able to visually recognize the difference between a spiral, elliptical, and a regular galaxy. Then there's information about nebulae. And there are actually 3 types of nebulae as well. There's reflection, emission, and dark nebulae. And so dark nebulae are also known as absorption nebulae. So in some of the resource materials that we have provided and other resources that you may find in your own searching will refer to them as absorption nebulae. But they are also known as, it can be used either dark or absorption, but on the test we will only call them dark nebulae. And in the rules they're only called dark nebulae. So then there's also stellar evolution. So the cycle that a star goes through from birth to death. So they'll have to recognize the specific stage that a star would be in, such as main sequence or a red giant, based on how old it is, which again, we don't have specific numbers. There are specific age ranges, but we don't need to know the actual the ages. It's just the order that it goes in. When a star gets to the end of its life, there's differences in how it dies based on its mass or its size. And so this is basically just a small star will do this and a large star will do this. And so we have the specific types of death and remnants that are left listed here. So they just have to recognize that this will be caused, like this remnant will be caused by a star that is larger than this star. We also have a glossary that we have posted on the Macomb website. And so there's actually 2 different glossaries. There's one on the basic solar system information, which that has not changed from last year, if there's any returning coaches. But then the other glossary is on specifically the deep space, which that has changed from a couple years ago when we last did this topic. So we've narrowed the glossaries down. So originally we had a big list of all the terms that, like more terms than we would ever possibly use. So this year we've narrowed them down to a smaller but still relatively large list of words and definitions that they will need to know. And then there's also, you have to recognize images on of nebulae and galaxies. So we have provided a list of 12 nebulae and 12 galaxies. And we have a document with the names and the images on the Macomb website. And so these are the full-size images. You can just use this document to teach your students. And so also we have, you see here, a name and a number listed with for this one it's the antenna galaxies. So there's also the NGC number, which that is an identification that astronomers use. The students do not need to know the numbers that go with it. And this one is the ESO number. So we do not require the students to know the numbers, but if they do know the numbers better than the names, then we will accept that in place of the names on the test. So some students will be better at remembering the numbers, but in general, we're just looking for the names that we provide. Yes?
So that would be a fill-in, and it's not like.
Right. So that actually leads us into the test structure. So on the test, which we have provided a template on the Macomb website. And so this is the template that we have on the website. This is a general structure that we will use. So there may be slightly different number of questions in each section, but the layout and the format is the same. So the first section, this is always 10 questions. This is the image identification. So we will choose 10 images from the list of 24 galaxies and nebulae, as well as the planets and features that we've selected. And this document is also available on the Macomb website. So there's a difference in the document for the planets versus the nebulae and galaxies. With planets, we have only provided a small thumbnail of the image and the name, but the full-size images are available on the NASA website, which we'll be going through in a bit more detail later. So we suggest that you find those specific images on the website.
So you can't just click the image and get to where it's
Right,
going?
right.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So 10 of all those 3 topics. So
Right.
it could be 2 galaxies, 3
Right,
planet, okay.
right. So we will have images from each of the section, but it could be any number of them. Yes?
Well, these specific images here could be one of the images that they might see, and then they
Right.
have to be told, like, you see Burning Mountain, and they would have to say that's Earth.
Right, so.
Or would they have to
well, on
identify
the-
that as Burning Mountain?
So on the test, we only provide the image, not the name or the planet that it's
Right.
on. So the students will be asked for the specific feature that is shown, so they would be
They
asked
have
to
to say
identify
planet.
the Burning Mountain. But we also do give partial credit for identifying the planet that it is on. So if the student can't remember the specific name of the feature, but they do know what planet it's on, they can still get partial credit.
So they have to know nebula, and that says nebula over Norway. How on earth would you know if it's over Norway or somewhere
it's-
else?
No,
Aurora.
actually, this is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's an Aurora, but this
Oh,
is,
I'm sorry, I
this
meant-
is actually, not the current copy
Yeah,
of
this-
it. We've changed a
yeah.
couple of the names so that it's not, it doesn't say anything about Norway.
So they don't have to know about
No,
Aurora
no,
at
no.
all?
At the
No,
moment.
we've
But
changed
yeah,
the
the
name.
document on the website is the current one, which has the names that we will be using on the test. Yes.
Where did you say this list of images is on?
This is on the NASA website, which we've provided a link to it in the handouts, as well as on the Macomb website.
So this particular list of the specific, 25 pictures or whatever, is on the Macomb
Yes.
website,
It is
on the
a-
Starry Night pages.
It is a document that you can download on the Macomb website, but then the full-size images are on the NASA website. Okay, and then after the image identification, then we have multiple choice. So there are 10 to 15 multiple choice questions, and these are pretty simple. It's just choose the best answer. And actually there will be only one correct answer, so it's not, this one is more right than this one. There's one definite answer. And then after that, we have fill in the blank and short answer questions. So the fill in the blank would be something like we just have a sentence with a word missing, and you have to fill in the specific word. And then the short answer, we do not require complete sentences, but you do have to explain we may ask you to explain a specific process or ask about some detail about a planet or something. Yes.
Before, when you were saying about the images,
Yes.
that you've got these thumbnail images, but if we go to the NASA's website, we can find more about those images.
Right.
So, like, if you give us a thumbnail of, 20 or 40 pictures, but the NASA website's gonna have way more than that, we don't need to know?
Right.
So if we find an image on a thumbnail, then we only will need to look up those images on the NASA
Right.
website.
Right. Yeah, so that's a very good point. The NASA website does have thousands of images on it. That's why we've given you the document with just thumbnails on it.
And
So,
where are those thumbnails again?
that's on the Macomb website, available for download. Then after the fill in the blank and short answer question, we have a matching section. And there's actually two different types of matching. We have planet matching, so we have a list of the planet names, and then a list of details about the planets. For instance, this is commonly known as the red planet, and you'd have to look at the list of planets and find the one that fits the description, which in that case would be Mars. And then the second matching section is a glossary term matching. So this would be words from the glossary that I mentioned earlier. So we have a list of, we would either have a list of terms that you have to find the definitions for, or a list of definitions you have to find the terms for. And so in this case, it is, we give you the terms and you have to find the definitions from the list below. In this case, there would be more definitions than terms. So, and then if it was definitions, then there would be a list of more terms than definitions.
So the previous one that we just, with the names of the
Yes.
planets on the side, there's more planets there than we have blanks to fill out.
No.
Actually, no, the
In this
planet
case,
matching
there's-
is in this case, there are 8 planets and 8 descriptions.
Okay.
But then the glossary term matching, we want the students to actually know what the terms are and their definitions, so we don't want it to just be process of elimination. That's why we give you more.
For example, we may put umbra and penumbra. They need to know the differences, and we would give you the definition of one of those, and they'd have to pick which one. So it just lets us know that they really know which one we're asking about.
Immediately before the matching section, there are 2 drawing questions. So this is just a simple sketch of, it could be something like a lunar eclipse, or the layout of the planet, so that the sun, moon, and earth in a lunar eclipse, or it could be the specific moon phase. So we're not looking for detailed illustrations. It's just draw us a quick sketch of what this would look like. We want the students to know visually the layout of certain events in the solar system. So then after the matching, we have the star chart section. This is the last section that we grade on the test. And so it is, this is an example of the answer sheet for the star charts. And then immediately after the answer sheet, we would have the actual charts, like the ones that we showed earlier, of just the stars. And so on that, we would have a certain group of stars circled, or an arrow pointing to a star. And so the students would have to recognize the constellation in the circle or the specific star as being pointed to.
Are they gonna have the star chart with them, or is it up on
The star chart is in the physical test. So the students can draw all of the star charts. They can draw in the lines if that helps them. We will actually not be looking at the star charts themselves. We'll only be looking at the answer sheet. So they can do whatever they need to with the star charts.
How many star charts do they get?
There are generally 2 star charts with 10 to 15 constellations or stars together on them. Yeah, but between the 2 star charts. Yes.
So
So drawing the exact, so I take it you get the whole star chart.
Right.
You're gonna have circles around different clusters of stars.
Right.
You're not gonna be graded on connecting the dots?
Right.
Okay, just knowing that that's where Boots is and this is where Sirius is if you're pointing to that?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And part of the reason we do that is because different sources have different lines drawn in for the constellations. But what we really care about is that the students know what's
in that area?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's actually one more section after the star charts. This is the tiebreaker section. We do not look at the tiebreakers unless there is a tie. So it has no effect on the student's score on the test unless there is an actual tie. And so if you leave these blank, there's no penalty. And if, then, yeah. So this is an example of what you as the coaches will receive after the practice tournaments or the district tournaments, whatever you call them. We will not be releasing the test at either the practice tournaments or the regional tournament. But we will be giving you a list of the categories, the general categories that the questions fall into, and how many points the students received in those categories. So this can help you then focus. It'll show you what the students do need to focus on, what specific areas. So the numbers here are not exactly how many points will be in each section because we haven't actually written the tests yet. So we don't know the exact point values yet, but this is an example. Spelling, I believe I already mentioned, does not count. But as long as we can tell what the students are trying to spell, so it doesn't have to be exact. The students can only bring pencils in. We do not allow reference materials. And the students should bring their own pencils, but we do have extras in case they forget or their pencil breaks or something. The tests, when we give them to the students, they are stapled together. It's about 10 pages that are stapled together, and the students can rip that apart so that one can be working on the star charts while the other is working on, for instance, the multiple choice section. So once we give the students the test, they can pull it apart and do whatever they want with it. And we actually do suggest that you have the students work separately because it is a very long test that, and we don't expect the students to finish it. And don't be discouraged if the student does not finish it. I'm not sure that we've ever actually had.
Some people finish it, but.
We have had a few students finish the whole test, but it is rare and it's perfectly fine if your students do not finish the test.
So it is timed? It
is timed. We unfortunately do have a time limit of 30 minutes in which we can give the test. That's part of the tournament rules. The first, it will actually be about 25 minutes that the students have to actually take the test because there are some instructions that we give at the beginning, and then also the image identification. We'll be projecting those on the screen, and so for that part we show each of the 10 pictures for 20 seconds each. And so they have 20 seconds for each image to find the name and write it down. And then after that, we will go through the images, all 10 images, again for 5 seconds each, just in case they missed one and just need a reminder of what the image was so they can get the name. So this is the Macomb website. So There are actually 2 pages for the Starry Starry Night, on the Starry Starry Night pages. So to get to the second page, you do need to click this More Study Material button. So that will bring you to the second page, which has more information and all of the documents that you can download. Well, some of the documents that you can download. They're split on between the pages. And so we have provided you with lots of resources that it has all of the information that we will be using. But then you can also go out, if you don't like our resources, then you can go out and find your own and use those instead. And so that is perfectly fine. Just be careful that you don't find things that are out of scope. Or also some sources have conflicting information, unfortunately. So we will be using the information that we have in the sources that we've gathered. So if you find something says that Jupiter has fewer moons than Uranus, but then our sources say that Jupiter has more moons than Uranus, then we will be using, we will, on the test, we will say that Jupiter has more. So it's just something to pay attention to if you are finding sources.
I wanted to show, how many have, this is not your first year coaching this event? Got a few? Okay, the NASA site, I just wanna let you know, the NASA site has totally changed. All right, they are, it's actually in beta right now, so I just wanted to kind of quickly take you through. It looks totally different than it looked before.
I'm sorry, Susan, is this beta version available to the public at this point?
It is public, yes,
Okay.
it is public, it's just, it changes. I mean, I looked at it a couple weeks ago and it's different than it is now. Which is fine, you know, it's good. They're adding new things, they're making it more friendly. But I wanna show you where to find the information that we're gonna be using, all right? So you go to the home page, and then, for some reason, this computer, here, it has to do with the plugins, I guess, that they have. There's usually, on all my computers that I've tried it on, even here and at home, there's a menu across the top. Here, the menu is here on the side. What you wanna do is click into planets, all right? There's a lot of good information here, but all we're gonna need is the planets, all right? And then click on each one of the planets. For example, here's your nice picture of Mercury. They're not static pictures anymore, which is kind of fun. In fact, I really love, let me show you Venus. I love the Venus picture. But anyway, isn't that pretty? They got under the clouds. Anyway, you click on this main page for each planet and you will see some vital statistics here. Don't get too caught up with numbers again, but some interesting things down here. What you really need to do is click on more, all right? And then that takes you to all the detail about each planet. Now, again, at home, I have another menu that goes across the top here that is not even a pull down on this one. So hopefully you will have another menu that goes across the top. If you don't, this in-depth is gonna give you most of the information you need. But the other menu, if you do get it, that goes across the top, it has things like FAQs about this planet, or the top 10 things to know about this planet, or and a way to click into the gallery, the picture gallery for that planet. All right, so look at all of those tabs for each of the planets. Let's see, can I get into the pictures? All right, so the galleries for the planets now, it starts off to the side. If you click here, here's the images, and they give you a few thumbnails here, but there's a lot more images than that. So click on more on the images over here. And the way they've displayed it now, before it used to be a page of thumbnail, 20, 30 thumbnails on page one. They might have 2 or 5 pages of that, all right? Now they give you a picture, and you just gotta sort through them like this. All
And those
right?
are the pictures that are gonna be on the first part of the test?
Yes, now,
So-
go down a little bit lower, and then they've got the long line here, so you can, page through them.
And there's where we search for the thumbnails that we
That's
saw
where
in the
you
other
search
place.
for the thumbnails, all right? So, let's see, on Venus,
So are just the thumbnails possible ones?
just the thumbnails
just
that we've
thumbnails.
given you.
But this gives us the full picture. of
Yes,
what the
because the
thumbnail is.
thumbnail that we've given you may not be the complete picture, so you'll wanna go here and find the picture of Sax Patera, because it's big and pretty and the kids will, and this is what we'll project.
So if it's not on the thumbnail, we don't even wanna
That's
click it.
right, that's right.
So I noticed that you said this is the planets. What about images of the galaxies and stuff? You only click the planets, you say, in this section?
Yes, only click the planets in this section. The images of the galaxies and, let's see, galaxies and nebulas, we've given you, another, PDF document that is posted on the Macomb website. You don't have to go any particular place online to find those.
Yes, this has the full-size images,
Yeah.
it's not just a thumbnail. So
And
Because
that's
I got them from different sources, they're just, oh, I love this picture, this image of this particular galaxy, we're gonna use this one.
So then we should know all of, for the galaxies part, we should know all of them that you've posted on your
Yes.
website.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so we've tried to, out of the hundreds of thousands of images that you could find, we had complaints about that, because the instruction that we gave you before was, whatever looks interesting to you is probably interesting to us. Pick those pictures to show the kids. You guys didn't like that, so we picked some specific images for specific planets to help you out, okay? All right, any questions?
I have a note that, Aurora, you're gonna only focus on our moon and how the relationship
Yes.
between moon and Earth.
Thank
So
you.
you don't need to know about the names of the other moons or the number?
So we may ask you which two planets have the most moons, which planets have no moons. But this year, we are not focusing on, like last year and next year, we'll have a specific list of moons that you need to know the names of, what they look like. This year,
So now it's like the number of moons and
Yeah.
this one has so
Yes.
many more than that.
and we will focus on our own moon just because it has to do with eclipses and, months and days and things like that. So, our own moon is part of our local solar system, so we will talk about our own moon.
For the part of the test that the children have to identify the pictures as they're being shown to them, that'll be on the screen this size or larger?
Oh, it'll be bigger.
Or it'll be bigger? Okay, so the test is split in half. As one student is doing, let's say, the question part of the test, and the other student is starting to do the images, does this person that's doing the test part for like the written questions and things, do they need to stop and look at the images too? Should they? Do you recommend it?
That's a coaching choice. That's up to you. If you have one kid who you would like to focus on the images, that child can be doing the images while the other one's head down, doing something else on the test. That's
And of course, when
totally
that
your
child
choice.
was looking at it, if they suddenly saw one they didn't know, they just
Yeah,
picked a partner to
exactly.
look.
You remember what that one's called? Yeah,
Will
exactly.
they be able, how will they?
They can talk.
Oh, they can
They
talk?
can
Yes.
talk, absolutely.
Yeah, the students can talk to each other during the test. Just, there are other teams in the room, so just make sure they're speaking quietly so they don't give other teams the answers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you definitely want them to communicate and work together. That's
Okay.
part of how they get it done.
So again, this is 25 minutes from,
Oh, yes.
Yes, 25 minutes for 60 questions.
Yes.
so can they jump from one to the other? If they know a section,
Yep.
they think that they can do those
Yep.
definitions quickly,
Yep.
they'll just,
Okay.
We've
So,
also-
Yeah, they don't have to go in order of the questions that we could.
We've also put the questions will each be worth 1, 2, or 3 points, and we put the point values next to each question so the kids know. They could go through and answer all the 1-point questions if they want to do that.
Yeah, because the point values correspond with how difficult the question is, so the 1-point questions will be easier and 3-point questions will be harder.
Yeah.
That's the highest point value is
3
3
Yes,
points?
On the part where they have to draw,
Yes.
is there anything specific that they could mask that they didn't do, like you have to shade the moon phase?
Yeah.
Yes, so for moon phases, we have actually had some problems with this in the past. We want you to shade the part that is, that is dark on the moon phase. So some students have shaded the part that you can see. So the students can either shade the part that is dark or just not draw that part. So for
Draw a
instance,
crescent.
yeah, just draw a crescent. But we want the part that you can see.
You wanna
Yes.
show that to them?
Labeling,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go,
This was,
that's,
I think, last year's.
yeah, in fact, that's probably on, pieces of that are posted. We've changed it for this year to include the current topics. But it's just a mini little quiz to show you, here's an easy question, here's a difficult question on this particular topic, to kind of give you the range of the kinds of things the kids are gonna see.
And
So that's
that is
posted.
also on the website.
Yeah.
Macomb website. And are there any more questions? All right.
Thank you for all the time you put into this.